The Operation Babylift is defined as a mass evacuation of children from South Vietnam to the United States and other countries near the end of the Vietnam War. This made history as one of the largest rescue endeavors to occur. It lasted from April 3rd to the 26th in 1975. Emotions rose as the lives of many young ones were valued and sought after. There are opposing sides when it comes to the quality of the outcome after this mission occurred. All chaos stemmed from the South Vietnamese's official surrender to the communist powers. The North went to their full extent and destroyed cities by launching assaults. This resulted in South Vietnam losing all control to the Northern forces. People in South Vietnam were unaware of what the next day would consist of, which left them concerned about finding food and shelter, let alone provide for their families. The majority of the people knew it was better off to leave than stay unprotected due to the threat of a new government. Because orphans did not have the ability to find their own route to safety like grown adults did, they would have been stuck to grow up in a country that was highly unstable. The U.S. government knew the condition of Vietnam and did not want to leave behind the orphans to suffer. President Ford announced, "We are seeing a great human tragedy as untold numbers of Vietnamese flee the North Vietnamese onslaught. The United States has been doing and will continue to do its utmost to assist these people." This was declared on April 3, 1975. The airplanes occupied more passengers than its capacity in order to haul more to safety before attacks came. Children were placed in file boxes for easy transportation and separation. There were doctors, nurses, and military police placed on the aircraft for their health and safety. Operation Babylift did not go perfectly due to malfunctions and complications along the way. The first plane to leave for this mission came to a sudden crash into a rice paddy field. The plane crashed due to cargo doors malfunctioning and the tail becoming separated. It was a devastating sight from the survivors on the scene and the people watching it on TV. There were deaths of 78 children and 50 adults of the substantial 300 people aboard. Though deaths are not acceptable in any situation, 172 passengers did survive through the crash. Pilots noticed the malfunction and made great efforts to land in an open area in the best way. There were approximately 40 air flights each day that resulted in a successful trip for hundreds of thousands of lives. Some say that this event was not well planned out, which left problematic situations in the midst of the process. There were health issues that would uproar due to the close contact in the airplanes. Although there were private adoption agencies and sponsorships, along with $2 million set aside to cover the needs of this mission. Planes were immediately met by medical teams, and there were processing centers filled with adults awaiting care for the orphans. The severe cases were sent to hospitals for intense care. Everyone worked countless hours for the well-being of the future U.S. citizens. Some believe that this mission was an effort to represent America of having an impactful part in the war. This was a method where they could serve a heroic act to gain recognition from all over. If anything, this act demonstrated the amount of care towards the suffering Allied countries. Seeing the amount of people serving a helping hand shows that the sole purpose was not about the image of the country. This united one another, no matter their work background, to help a greater cause. The air traffic control worked hard to proceed in a quick loading process and trip, with the pressure of not knowing when this will all come to an end. The air crew not only managed the plane, but they also assisted in evacuating and nurturing children off the aircraft. American personnel were heroes in many aspects during this event. They were father figures for most of the children on top of their own individual duties. The innumerable volunteers that showed care and love for the wide range of orphans was overwhelming. There was a demand for administrative work, which was fulfilled by volunteer military wives. There was a surrogate mom for each child in the facility that assured that each orphan received ultimate care and reassurance. There were volunteers simply rocking little orphans and warming bottles of formula. When the time came, it was difficult to see the children leave, especially from the close bonds that were created. A wife of an Air Force sergeant pointed out, "I still have his crayon pictures and treasure them along with this shared experience." Due to controversial issues, there were lawsuits established. There were orphans who mistakenly were intertwined in the airlifts, which could be categorized as kidnapping. These so-called orphans had parents back in Vietnam and were separated for unknown reasons. There was a lawsuit that addressed this problem of children being unconstitutionally detained. The volunteers in the nurturing centers witnessed Vietnamese children piling in the room with a bracelet including their name and their prior location. Children had to come from the embassy, and crew members were keeping track of each orphan entering the plane. There were parents going through extreme matters to get their own children on the plane with the motives of finding them in the future. That is where mix-ups could have occurred, where people were trying to sneak their child on the plane in hopes of meeting again on safer land. This mission would be a part of these children's personal histories and a part of who they are. All of the orphans had plans of an adopted family. Real-life stories exhibit thankfulness from the grown children knowing what their lives could have been like in Vietnam. A Babylift adoptee, Jacob Swartout, is currently 35 years old and has a family of his own. 14 years and counting, he has served for the U.S. Army in honor of the country's deeds toward him. Jacob is thankful for the life he has now and the ability to serve for the country that continues to be sacrificial for many others. Operation Babylift was a significant event in history that went unnoticed over time. This mission gave thousands of lives a new, safe home since their past lives were unpredictable. There were over 3,000 orphans recorded from the flights who received a new home. Operation Babylift positively impacted the citizens of the United States and was a heroic factor in the orphans' lives.